Overall, the budget is a good budget for the common man, for the businessman also. Good for the government as well, because I think this budget is formulated keeping in mind 2024 general elections, because the last complete budget for before the next general elections, and of course it was expected to be that way, that it will give a lot of tax swaps, because the last 2 3 years not much have been given to the general public, the middle class or the working class, salaried class. So they have tried to open up a lot many things for the salaried class, like they have raised the minimum non-taxable limit to 7 lakh rupees, and the rates have changed even for the affluent class, like the highest surcharge rate that was 37%, which took the total taxation rate to 43.24%, has been lowered up to 25. So that gives us saving of around 4%. Now take a case where these incomes apply, now these rates apply is above 5 crores. So someone earning 6 crore rupees, all of a sudden he'll have say, something like 24 lakhs excess available with him, which otherwise would have gone in taxes. So that's a big saving for anyone, no doubt. On these counts, the tax benefits have been passed on to the citizens of the India, who all the taxpayers of this India, of this country. Uh, One thing that really worries me is actually what kind of thinking the government has as to the uh, policy regarding savings and thrift, because Indian economy classically has always been a very conservative economy. We have always believed a lot on thrift and family savings. Like every Indian on an average would have been saving 10 to 15% of his income, and putting them in say FDs or some tax saving instruments like PPF or a life insurance policy or something like that. That was the old tax regime. Now this year in the budget they have brought in they have made the new tax regime as the default regime, and if you want to go back to the old tax regime, then you have to make an option. Otherwise it was the other way around, that you have to opt for the new tax regime. Now it's not the case. When we look at the new tax regime, it doesn't give any benefits to one who is doing certain investments and savings. So that's exactly how the American economy runs. You spend a lot on white goods, on consumer goods, and end of the day, probably you don't have anything in your hand. The biggest beneficiary out of personal spendings is ultimately the government, because they get a lot of taxes by way of indirect taxes, because in India almost everything is taxed now under GST except water and air. So government is going to get a lot of taxes when people start spending and not saving. In the short run that may look good, but as a conservative citizen of this country, I feel it is not a very good idea to implement, looking at the future, because we come across a lot of our clients or a lot of the youth who have recently graduated and taken up their first jobs. Nobody is interested to have some kind of tax saving investments. Like in the earlier times, you used to have the PPF, then you had the NSCs, or even tax saving FDs used to make. Uh, they're not much interested. If they have some extra money, they would put in the stock market, and that's not also not a bad thing, but it's very risky. And it makes sense to have that in countries like the USA or Canada, because they are all welfare states. Anything happens to you tomorrow, the government takes care of your health and hospitalization, everything. Even for unemployment, there are unemployment allowances which are paid by the government to the person who is not having a job. We don't have those facilities here in India, and so I wonder what happens to these people after say 25, 30 years, when maybe they are not of the working age and they don't have adequate savings to take care of their retirement costs, and of course for any other emergencies or eventualities. So making the new tax regime as the default regime, I personally feel is not a very good idea to implement in India. Of course, there could be policymakers who may have a contrary view to this, but is my definitely my own personal professional view. As regards some other very good initiatives taken by the government, one of them is I remember 2.5 years back when the Corona pandemic struck us. Myself and my one of the senior chartered accountants from Pune, Mr. Madhav Ganpule, he's my teacher. We had thought for sat for a brainstorming session, and we had chalked out certain uh, improvements that can be done, some suggestions we had made, and we had sent it to the ministry when the MSME package was announced. And one of the suggestions that we had made both was regarding bringing the payments made to MSME companies within the ambit of Section 43B, so that companies who are not paying MSMEs on time won't get a deduction unless they paid them on time. So that was a suggestion that we made, and of course, I can only say finance minister में देर है अंधेर नहीं है. So at least after 2.5 3 years, they have accepted that particular suggestion, and it's brought into the budget now. So payments to MSME entities is now a part and parcel of Section 43B, which is a very good thing to do. That actually will set the cycle right for the MSME enterprises, so that they get the payments on time, and actually having a smooth cash flow in the economy uh, takes care of a number of evils or the ills that plague the economy. And this is a very welcome step, because of which the MSMEs will not face fund crunches in their operations. It will also maintain their banking record good. Civils won't get disturbed, and again, that in effect has a benefit for the banking sector, whose assets won't become non-performing, because it's a vicious circle and a chain. So once you plug one of the loops in the chain, definitely the whole system works fine. So it's a very good change to do. Few other the tax rates and all have been reduced. It's a good thing. People will have a lot of uh, money in hand to spend, and again, it's kind of a domino effect, or it's rather a snowball effect. Like when you start spending, uh, the demand gets generated in the market, and that stimulus is very necessary today because we are seeing slowdown worldwide. India also has on the they have estimated that the growth rate is going to be lesser than the last year. So to stimulate that growth, this spending is necessary, which is a good thing. Coming back to the defense sector, it's very good thing that uh, we are giving more stress on make in India, and domestic defense production is increasing. At the same time, the government is also spending a lot in the defense sector. It's a need of the hour. You cannot compromise on anything when it comes to defense, and you and me and the whole country can survive only when our borders are secure and safe. So otherwise, there is no meaning for any kind of economic development if the country is not safe. So for keeping the country safe, we need to spend on defense, and it's a very good thing that the government has increased the allocation. One very interesting part here is about the artificial intelligence. Just like we had Make in India, we have Make I. I think the slogan given is Make AI in India, and it's excellent move, and it will definitely earn a lot of dividends in the future.